One of the best Pokemon games ever created has to be Pokemon Black and White 2, and the definitive worst Pokemon game ever created has to be Sun and Moon. These are just facts. You can't argue with them. But what would happen if we combined the two games, creating some weird amalgamation of Pokemon, creating Pokemon Moon Black 2? Wow, that's a mouthful to say, but is it any good to play? Well, let's find out. So I've decided to play this game completely blind, still under the hardcore rule set. Obviously, it's going to be a bit hard to stick to level caps because I have no clue what they are, but I'll do my best to stay as close as possible to what's around me. I will still be playing on set mode and I'm not using items. So beginning my adventure, I get to pick my character. Now instantly, there seems to be a little switch up happening here as the characters from Alola are here instead of the typical badass Black and White 2 characters. This is already a downgrade, oh god. I decided to play as a girl this time, and we are immediately greeted by Gladion. Unlike our normal rival in this game, this guy I will come to fear, as almost every battle with him runs the risk of death. Your Pokemon are mine! What the heck is wrong with this dude? But for now, let's pick our starter Pokemon. So we have the choice between Rowlet, Litten, and Popplio. Oh, and I forgot to mention, in this version, they've added the Fairy type, Mega Evolution, and every Pokemon up to Gen 7. For my starter though, I decided to go for the best bird, Rowlet. We name him Tundra and we are immediately destroyed by Gladion and his Litten, who knocks me out with 2 embers. Okay, thankfully the run doesn't start until I get balls, or I'd probably be stuck here for ages. Heading on to Route 1 now, our first encounter is with the Hoot Hoot. I named this little Hoot Hoot too, and nothing else really happens until we make our way up into the next route, where we have our first trainer battle. This little kitty has a Yungoos and an Alolan Rattata, who we take out with 2. And beating it means we get another catch encounter, which just happens to be another flying Pokemon, Fletchling. Heading up into Philosophy Ranch, we've got our final encounter before the first gym. And guess what? We encounter a Taillow, the 4th flying Pokemon on our team. Can you believe it? This is really bad. Having 4 flying Pokemon means if we come up against an electric or rock type, we're just screwed. Here in Velocity Ranch though, we come face to face with Gladion. Oh, and when you look at that, he has a Rock Ruff. Rock type, which is going to be super effective against every single one of my Pokemon. Thankfully though, my boy Tanjiro managed to take it out before we take any casualty. In comes Litten however, who not only takes out Fletchling, but also 2 before Taillow takes it out. From 4 Pokemon down to 2 already. I told you Gladion was going to be an issue. Now of course we have to go save the doggo on Velocity Ranch, and this time it's actually a Lycanroc, and instead of Team Plasma stealing it, it's actually Team Skull. Apparently my presence here though is enough to scare this rapper wannabe away, and our time has been served on Velocity Ranch. So we make our way back down to Gym 1, and who's the leader? None other than your boy Nate. So leading with Scyther, I send in my Rowlet, and after a couple of pecks, we actually do manage to take it out. The problem arises when he sends in type Null. Isn't Gladion meant to have this, not Nate? Anyway, he comes in and aerial aces Tanjiro, one-shotting it, which is so unfortunate. This means all I've got left is Taillow, and well, that doesn't go any better. Wing attack does no damage to it, and it knocks me out with an aerial ace. This means we have to restart already. Oh, hey guys, what are you guys doing here in the void? Yeah, this is my home. What do you mean I need to get out of here? Yeah, I know, I've been trying to. Oh, what's that coming towards us? Is that the subscribe button? Oh my god, it is! I'm pretty sure if we hit it, I'll be able to get out of this place and get back to the video. Well, it looks like it worked. So this time I pick Popplio and we go and do all of the stuff on Route 1, 2, and Velocity Ranch again. But this time we pick up a Riolu. And with the threat of Type Null looming, I decided to go up, down, left, right, up, down, building my friendship with Riolu until it eventually evolves into Lucario. Yes! Oh, baby! Looks so freaking cool as well. We love that. Alright, epic. Back at the gym now against Scyther, we lead with Fletchling, who managed to take it out with 2 pecks. Our Popplio gets his Growlithe low before Lucario comes in and finishes it off. Now to get my revenge on Type Null! We counter with Lucario getting him weak before we get confused. I decided not to risk hitting ourselves in confusion and instead sacrificed a random cat we found along the way. That allowed me to safely come back in and take out Type Null. Alright, onwards we go towards the next town, but we catch Nate doing some random push-ups in the middle of the road. Man just walked in and went, you know what? Push-up time! Thankfully we can get an encounter here, and it just so happens to be an Aron. We do some training in the shipyard and stumble upon a gift Pokemon, and that gift Pokemon is none other than a Cyndaquil. And to my absolute surprise, it's a Unovian Cyndaquil? Whoa, okay. It's not just fire, but it's also a steel type. We evolve it into Quilava straight away, but just wait until you see Typhlosion. That thing is badass. For now though, we should head into the gym and take on Roxy. She leads with Grima and we lead with Kalava. And we managed to take it down to half health, as it does decent damage using Mud Slap against me, which is obviously 4 times effective against Kalava now. Me predicting she'd use that again, I make the swap to Fletchinder, who can't be hit by the ground move, and finishes it off. She sent in Toxapex next, which does way too much damage, and so I swap over to Brion. This was a bad swap though, which landed it in very low health, so I ended up sacrificing this random horsey in order to get the safe swap into Lucario. We take it out after countering it a couple of times, in comes Krogunk next, and I swapped to Fletchling thinking it would be able to take it out. But unfortunately, Krogunk just dunks on our Fletchinder, taking it out. Thankfully though, our Kalava does manage to come in and finish it off. All that's left now is Baby Toxapex, or Baby Pex. I don't have any Pex. But at least Lucario knocks it out. This game commits the ultimate sin, however, of not removing the Pokestar Studios section from the game. So I slug away, doing my little dance and get in the thing in the Star Studio and making a movie and that, until I'm finally freed from my hell so I can go get on my boat. But these Team Skull Grunts show up blocking my boat. Wonder what they're up to in Unova. I'm sure it's nothing too bad. They were easy to deal with in Alola, they were just kind of a rapping group. Why wouldn't they be here? With that dealt with, Nanu shows up at the port. Kinda random, but it's cool to battle him either way. So off to New York we go, you gotta fold it. Where we actually run into Ash. Pretty cool to see him in a game. We follow him to the sewers where me and Gladion deal with these pesky skull grunts. I end up catching a Sandygast down here and name it Pudding. I don't know why, sometimes these names just come into my head. What was really cool is we ran into a trainer down here who had an illegal Greninja at level 19. What the hell? What was even weirder though was its Battle Bond ability. So not only can it transform into its normal Battle Bond form, but it can also transform into this Sunny and Hail Battle Bond form. What is this? That looks so freaking cool! I want that! Where do I catch that? But with Team Skull dealt with, we're probably good to leave the sewers for a little bit. This is when we run into a shiny Cyndaquil. Yeah. Hey yo. Grin. You can't be serious, am I right? Yeah, yeehaw, yeah. Hey yo. What? Shiny Cyndaquil! But I already have a Cyndaquil. Okay, don't care. Using this from now on. Shiny, we gotta do it. But turns out this is a guaranteed shiny. But it's still cool because we get to replace our non-shiny Cyndaquil with a blue flame beast named Marco. This city has a lot to offer us, and another one of those is a free trip to Liberty Island. Normally you'd find Victini here, but in this version you actually find Marshadow. Nothing is off limits in this run, so I started yeeting balls at the thing until eventually it submits and stays in the ball. Welcome to the team, Shikamaru. Let's go! Let's go, Marshadow! I'm so excited for this. Fighting goes. Now the reason I figured out Cyndaquil was a guaranteed shiny was because I headed back into the sewers to train for Gym 3. And down there I find a shiny Totodile. And they gave him a Unovian form as well. Dope! This guy's shiny colors are so cool, being black and red, but its typing is really cool because it's gained the electric type and the ability Lightning Rod. And with a little bit of training we can head up to the gym and get in the cocoons. I have no idea how this cocoon manages to suck you, but it does. Okay, that sounded wrong. But it does suck me up to the top. Okay, that sounds even worse. But at least we're here at Ilma. In this game, he uses Dark type and normal Pokemon. But since we have Lucario, you know that ain't gonna be an issue for me. Force Palm takes out Raticate and Eevee as Gumshoes manages to tank a hit. Fortunately, it doesn't save him though, as we knock him out next turn. Same goes for his Persian and his signature Smeargle. This is a Smeagol or Smeargle? I don't know, you let me know. So heading up to the next route, we find Colress is experimenting on some Pangoro, using some device to control them. I'm sure that won't be important later, but I might as well mention. Approaching Nimbasa City, we run into Archie and the other Magma guy as well, I guess. And they seem to have become friends, and now run the battle train together. Probably because Ingo was flung back into Legends Arceus, where he would kill plenty of my Pokemon in previous Nuzlocks. Nonetheless, we beat them and head into the forest to see what Pokemon we can find. Nothing good sadly, but we do run into Brendan here, and without warning, we are flung into a battle, and what does he have? None other than a level 40 Mega Sceptile. Guys, we have a side problem here. My highest is a level 34. Fortunately, I big brain it and use counter, which lets me one-shot the thing. Let's go! Okay, that could have been very bad. Thankfully, with the help of our newly evolved Feraligatr, we managed to take out the rest of his team and make it through the fight with no casualties. Lucky. I wanted to see if there was any other Pokemon on the other side of town before tackling the gym, but on the way there we are stopped by Ash. He's a pushover though, allowing me to push onto the next route. We do run into a Froakie on the next route, which has the Battle Bond ability. We name him Gamakichi and evolve him all the way up to Greninja. Of course, that means we've got to replace something, and I choose to replace Primarina because I actually hate Primarina. I don't know why I picked it the second time. Oh, and look at that, Typhlosion is evolving as well. How badass is that design? Way better than his Hisuian form in my opinion. This brings us to Gym 4, which happens to be a grass gym. Mallow doesn't know what she's in for. Marco destroys her Roselia and Nuzleaf before she sends in a regular Sceptile. Hey yo, I've already dealt with a level 40 Mega one of these, so this ain't a problem for me. We take it down, and same goes for Go-Goat before she sends in her final Pokemon Leafeon. I finally switch off into Marshadow, who now finishes the job with an Ice Punch. Halfway there, baby. Now we can beeline it straight into Good Vibes City to take on the next leader. This time it's Sophocles, the little fat kid who likes the electric Pokemon. Hey yo, why is there a picture of me? What the heck? I'm not the little fat kid. Get rid of that. Sophocles leads with Ampharos and I lead with Marshadow. Thunderbolt does way more damage than I anticipated, so I swapped to Feraligatr, who has the Lightning Rod ability, which lets him absorb the attack and gain a special attack boost. We then take out it and the Graveler, and the Vikavolt with a couple of Water Pulses, until his Feraligatr shows up. And it's a close fight, but Vikavolt already had me weak, so I had to swap to Greninja. We go for a substitute and take it out the following turn. This leaves just Togedemaru, which somehow survives the Force Palm, but we do take it out the following turn. From here we head down to the World Tournament and roll everybody, including Colress, to win the championship. All in a day for RJ. What the? A giant ship and Team Skull's been seen on board? No thanks, I want to go get more gym badges. God damn it, Gladion, why you drag me on here? Sorry, what? Team Skull's stolen one of Gladion's Pokemon and I should help him get it back? I don't see why that's my problem. Oh great, now we're trapped. Fine, I guess I'll help take him out. But this doesn't mean I like you, Gladion. Their teams are quite diverse, some having boring route Pokemon and others having Goodras, Metangs, and even this cool new Unovian Weezing. It's cool enough I guess, but its Galarian form is just better. At least we made it through all these fights without losing a Pokemon. I was waiting for Gladion to turn on me in those double battles, because he's a right backstabber, that guy. From here though we can head up to Chargestone Cave, but first we stop at this research lab where this lovely man just gives me a shiny type Null. Okay, random, but I'll take it. Through Chargestone Cave we go, and over to the Graveyard Tower place. When do we start building towers to bury things? Surely you just bury them in the ground, like there's plenty of space. We do run into both Ash and Kukui here, who gives me a Lucky Egg, and Ash tries to give me a Melton. But I already have 2 Steel types on the team, plus an Electric type, so I don't really need it. This tower is filled with strong trainers, and it doesn't help I was so underleveled. Thankfully though, no lives were lost in the filming of this Haunted Tower video. Back to the gym. Mina the Fairy Specialist is a bit of a handful. I lead with Marshadow as she leads with Wigglytuff. I forgot it's now a Fairy type, and even though I'm fighting a Fairy Specialist, I just forgot. Anyway, it doesn't matter because we end up one-shotting it with a Force Palm anyway, and in comes Mr. Mime, who we can one-shot Shadow Punch. Mawile next we lower to red as well, but it's healed back up before I swap to Marco and knock it out. In comes Primarina and 2 Thunderbolts take it out. Finally we take down our Ninetales, but she does give me the chance to show off the Frost Battle Bond form. What do you guys think? Either way, Ninetales goes down and that's Gym 6. Kukui then somehow gets 3 girls onto his private plane, and the flight seems to go by super fast, I'm not sure why. But we arrive in the desert town. This is probably the most forgettable town. I always forget this place even exists. Nonetheless, Bianca joins us as we explore the cave, and we don't really need her help until the moment we do when we run into Ash and Serena. And they're on a little date, how cute. But they're also blocking the exit, so we have to force them out of the way. But Bianca says hell nah, and we have to double battle them by ourselves. Leading with Delphox and Pikachu, I lead with my Water Boys, setting up the rain. We then take them both down with a Surf and Water Pulse. Next they send in Pangoro and Incineroar. I thought Pangoro would be the problem, but we took that out no problem before Incineroar nearly one-shots Greninja. I get Greninja out of there as fast as possible, sending in Mars Shadow, but Serena has this weird deformed Delcatty with like Oshawott shell on its tail. Once you see it though, you just can't unsee it. But this thing is a ghost type, which could be super effective against Mars Shadow. Fortunately, we managed to knock out Incineroar first, before taking out Ash's Lycanroc as well. And finally, Serena's Delcatty goes down. And before we even know it, they're gone. Bianca just acts like it never happened. She starts rambling on about Team Skull are going after some psychic Pokemon and that we need to stop them, but I don't know what she's talking about because I don't see them anywhere. All I see is this goddamn fiend Gladion. Okay bro, fine, let's battle. I'll have you know though, I did just acquire Lucario Knight, which means we can now Mega Evolve Lucario. Mega Evolutions work a little bit different in this game. Instead of activating in battle, it's a permanent change, which is totally fine by me. Any way I can use a Mega, I'll take. Okay Gladion, let's go. Umbreon is first, but thanks to Lucario, the thing goes down super easy with an Aura Sphere. To counter that though, he sends in Decidueye, or so I thought. So I switched to Marco, who's hit with a Focus Blast on entry. So I swapped to Mars Shadow to Shadow Ball it, but turns out it's actually a Zoroark, and the thing one-shots Mars Shadow. No, Shikamaru! I will avenge you! Now be gone, Zoroark! The real Decidueye comes in now, and God Clone knocks it out with an Aerial Ace. Lycanroc then lowers God Clone to red, so I swapped to Greninja, and it's hit with a Stone Edge on entry, but manages to live on 1 HP, thanks to its Focus Band. From here though, I can knock it out with a Surf, and finally his Type Null goes down to an Aura Sphere from Lucario. Oh, here's Team Skull Bianca, they were up in the next town, jeez, come on, get your facts right. This is the third time we've faced off against Faber, and the other times were a piece of cake. But this time, since we have Gladion with us, he makes it harder than it has to be. We make it through this fight unscathed though, and add putting the Sandygast to the team. With Faber down, we can head on to the next gym, but on the way there, we are stopped by an Ultra Beast, Xurkitree. I really like this one, but I already have an electric type. I catch it anyway, but it just stays in the box. So apparently the gym leader Kiawe has some special fusion device that can fuse 2 psychic Pokemon together, and we're supposed to go and pick it up from it. But before we do that, it's time to battle. We do counter his fire types with the majority of my team, so this shouldn't be too bad. First turn, I set up the Rain and surf his Arcanine the next turn. Talonflame goes down to another surf until Turtonator comes in and tanks the hit. And unfortunately for it, even though it heals up to full, we get a high roll surf the next turn and one-shot it. Next up is a low on Marowak, which does get me quite low here, but we managed to set up the Rain and surf it and Typhlosion down to 0. Easy gym. But apparently, it's just as easy for the Shadow Mimikyu guys to steal this fusion device from me and destroy the city with some big ice cannon for some reason. To be honest, I don't care about the ice, I care about my shit getting stolen, and for that, I will seek vengeance. Vengeance will have to wait though, as we are told we need to first beat the 8th gym leader. I don't know, they're probably planning some evil shit, but yeah, let's beat the 8th gym leader first. This is definitely the most difficult fight we've had so far. We take out her Clawitzer easy with a Thunderbolt from Feraligatr before she sends in her own Feraligatr, which happens to have Hydro Pump. I deal a little bit of damage with my Gator before we send in Greninja to finish the job. Wishy-Washy is next, and obviously I don't want to risk Gamagichi's life, so I swap to Lucario who knocks it out. Fortunately, we also dodge a Hydro Pump from a Primarina, which ultimately secures me the win, as all she has left now is a Cloyster who we can destroy with close combat. Yeah! Can I get my vengeance now? Yay! So we find the ship again and it's time to make our way into the internals. We have to battle so many brainless skulls in order to get a password for this electric gate. And once we eventually do, we find Necrozma has been locked up in a chamber which is fueling the ship. Kinda confusing because it's somehow making ice, but you know, whatever. Faber wants to fight us again, but that was easy. The real challenge is the Colress fight. He reveals he's been helping Team Skull since he met Lusamine and Alola all those years ago. This fight is full on, and like apparently everyone else, he has a Feraligatr, which we have to deal with. Fortunately, we do take it out with our own Gator before he sends in Metagross. I switch to Pudding, who tanks 2 Meteor Mashes before knocking it out with a Shadow Ball. Rotom in next scares me, so I swap to Gator, who takes it out, no problem. The problem does arise, however, when he sends in a Alolan Golem, and me thinking, oh, he probably thinks he's smart going for a Thunderbolt on me, but actually he just goes for an E-Quake, which takes out Gator. Feraligatr, no! Are you kidding me? Okay, now I'm mad. Lucario, go! Screw you, Golem, screw you, Porygon, and screw you, Magnezone. Man, I came here for revenge, and now you're fueling it even more. Well, as sad as it is, we need to replace it with something, and it just so happens I have both an Ampharosite and a Flaffy, so why not use Mega Ampharos? Mummy Mega Ampharos. Oh, damn, is she hairy now? But with that, we've made it to the boss. Hey, yo, it's Lusamine. What the heck? Turns out Lusamine's taken over Team Skull and goes on about ruling Unova, but she doesn't seem happy that I've made it all the way here into her office. The Mimikyu Triad busts into the scene, and I'm pissed with them because they stole something and I want to get it back. And I guess we can also get Gladion's Vulpix back as well, but if I had it my way, that little bitch ain't getting shit back. Sadly, he doesn't have our device anymore, and that slippery Lusamine has run off with it. So we chase her into the cave where she took Necrozma and challenge her to get it back. But she spits in my face though by using it to combine Guzma's Lunala, who randomly turned up, and Necrozma to make Dawnwing Necrozma. Ignore this cutscene, it is Dawnwing Necrozma, I swear to God. Now this thing may look menacing, but in fact is very easy to beat. We lure it as much as possible with Gamakichi before switching to Godclone, who has evolved into a Silvally. Thankfully, Silvally just doesn't get hit by any move it uses, which secures us the win. What's that, Lusamine? You gonna go and cry? Oh, you want to battle? Alright, I guess we're gonna do this. But the fight is easy. Clefable goes down to an Iron Head from Typhlosion before Beware comes in. Obviously that's not safe for him, so we swap to Pudding, who is immune to the punch, which lets me take it out with an Earth Power. For some reason she has a Mega Sceptile as well, but the thing is, our Lucario has Dragon Pulse, which means it just loses. It did stall with Leech Seed and Protect for a bit, but you can only stall for so long. And so the raw dogging continues, as we take down her Genesect with an Aura Sphere, her Noivern with a Dragon Pulse, and finally her Meganium with a close combat. See ya, Lusamine, go back to Alola and cry, I ain't got time for your brainless shenanigans, we gotta head up to the Elite Four. I wonder if it will be the Elite Four from Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Moon. And who will the champion be? Time to find out. We grind our way through Victory Road, and along the way not only do we run into Cynthia, but we also run into Alarm from the anime, the champion who beat Ash in Kalos. These battles are a little challenging, but ultimately we come out unscathed. It is cool to see Mega Garchomp and Mega Charizard X though, but we make it out on top and make it over to the league entrance, now to battle through Victory Road. But of course the main man Gladion has to come in and try and knock out a Pokemon or two before we hit the league. Gladion leads with Decidueye, so I swap to Ampharos. We go for a Signal Beam and Decidueye is revealed to be Zoroark. Lycanroc is in next and we take that down with an Earth Power from Pudding. Decidueye comes in next, but it U-turns out before we can take it out with a Signal Beam. Thankfully for me though, Weavile goes down to it instead. His Silvally is next, but we've got a superior Silvally, a shiny one, and it manages to take it out. This leaves just his Decidueye now, who's taken out by a Blaze Kick from Marco. Alright, Elite Four time. Hopefully this goes well. I have no clue what to expect, but I assumed it would be the Alolan Elite Four, and it was. First up is Acerola. Her Banette deals an absurd amount of damage to Greninja before we manage to take it out with a Surf, and in comes Mimikyu. Now I was not thinking at all, and turns out this thing had Thunderbolt, and boy did it use it. But with the help of a Focus Band, he tanks a Thunderbolt and takes it out. Whoa, that was close, nearly lost Greninja instantly. Next up to my surprise is a freaking Tapu Fini. Great, I guess all of these members are gonna have Tapus. I swapped to Ampharos forgetting it was also a fairy type and tank a Scald, and then discharge it, landing a Paralysis, which probably saved us as she then healed it back up, but I decided to just hit it again, and to my surprise it just ended up taunting me, which lets me knock it out. Frost Ice is in next, and thankfully we can make a free switch to Marco who can Blaze Kick it, but survives thanks to its Focus Sash. We do finish it the next turn however, as we thankfully don't hit ourselves in confusion. Her second last Pokemon is Palossand, so I switch to Godclone who is immune to the Shadow Claw. This affords me the time to knock it out with an Air Slash, as we trade blow for a couple of turns. This leaves just her Delmise, which goes down to Ampharos. All of my Pokemon ended up super weak in that fight, but we made it through unscathed. Alright, one down. Next up is Mullane, the Steel Specialist, and as you can imagine we absolutely destroy it with Lucario, Palossand and Typhlosion. Let's combat. The Rock Specialist Olivia fares no better though, as Lucario absolutely destroys her squad. Look at her coming out of that flower though, that's some kinky shit. It does go downhill from here though, as we make it to Hala, the final Elite Four member. him being a fighting type specialist does not bode well for 4 out of my 6 Pokemon. His Hariyama is first in and it tries to fake me out, but we break the mold with Ampharos and land the Dragon Pulse. Beware is next and I hit it with a Dragon Pulse which does a good chunk of damage, but it outspeeds me and Sword Stances, meaning I need to get out of here. So I swap to the only thing that is immune to it, and that's Palossand. Or so I thought. This thing actually has Shadow Claw, which does massive damage to me, but we managed to hang on and finish off Beware with an Earth Power. He sends in Poliwrath to counter me, so I swap to Lucario. We almost take it out, but it lives on red. This affords it the chance to heal back up and waste a heal. I then bait out Medichamp's high jump kick with God Clone as we switch to Palossand so it guarantees it misses. This works out, but we end up with a frozen Silvally. The battle does begin to shift when Conkeldurr appears. This thing can hit my Palossand, which sucks, but Ampharos does manage to knock it out with a few Dragon Pulses. This leaves just Tapu Koko, and I'd hoped that Typhlosion would be able to take it out, but unfortunately Earthquake doesn't deal enough damage, and now I'm in a predicament where something has to die. And ultimately, I decide it's gonna be Silvally. I'm sorry man, the others are just more versatile considering I have no clue what the champions team consists of. And so down it goes, allowing Lucario to finish it off with an extreme speed. Alright, here we are on our way up to face the champion. Generation 7 and Gen 5 with Mega Pokemon is almost complete. All we have to do now is beat Ash. That's right, he cheated and became the champion of Alola. Whatever, I guess we need to show him who the real champion is. And his first Pokemon is a Decidueye. Yo, that cheating Rowlet's finally evolved, good for him. But what's with all the Decidueyes in this run? Thankfully it U-turns first turn, allowing me to set up a light screen with Ampharos. He sends in Naganadel which uses Beast Boost, which is a complete waste as we take it out one shot with a Dragon Pulse. Incineroar is his next Pokemon and it has Earthquake. I try to deal some damage with Signal Beam, but that doesn't do much and it ends up taking me down to yellow with Earthquake. We swap to the Greninja to finish it off with a Surf before he sends in his Pikachu. Predicting the electric attack, we send in Palossand, who takes the Thunderbolt for no damage, letting me take it out with an Earth Power next turn. He then sends back out Decidueye, and Palossand manages to tank the hit from Decidueye, letting it take it out with a Shadow Ball. Lycanroc is in next, and the most influential Pokemon of the run is here to take it down with an Aura Sphere. One Pokemon left, and that is Melmetal. Damn, too bad for you. I got bad news for you, Ashy boy. My boy! Yo! I'm upset I couldn't win. Yeah, you're used to it, man. Chill out. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Slap like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye. Next up is Pink Shinies only.